Hello there and welcome. Well, today I'm definitely talking about something that I never discussed with John, and I think we would have very different opinions about it. And it has to do with the actual physical classroom. Before you try to teach school in any classroom, you need to go and look at it, and you need to be sure that there are enough seats for all the students enrolled. If there aren't, you need to go in and set your hair on fire until that problem is addressed. Hopefully, taking out students so that you have the right number of desks, not adding more desks, okay? But who knows? I tend to think that 20 is about the right number of desks in a classroom, especially a high school classroom. 20 is plenty. But there was a big part of my career where I was teaching 30 in a class, and during that time I learned that rows were the way to go. Desks with seats arranged in rows. I like 5 rows and however many chairs behind that to make up the number to get everybody seated. In one school it was 5 of 6, in another school it was 5 of 4. But I really believe in rows. Now that doesn't mean I keep that arrangement all the time. I wasn't calcified in it, and I don't think any teacher should be. When we had group work, I rearranged the desks so they were in groups. When we had debates, I rearranged the desks to where they faced each other. Sometimes, occasionally, we would be in a circle. In writing group, we would be in a circle. That was the way that worked best. But generally speaking, on regular instructional days, they would be in rows. And I did not like seating charts. I don't like seating charts, but I did use them at the very beginning of the year. Each year I would arrange the kids alphabetically by last name in those rows. And here's why. I wanted to learn their names fast. I made an assignment the first day, and by the end of my career, after I made an assignment the first day, the next day when they came in, I took up the assignment, graded it that night, and by the third day, I'd seen their names over and over and over again. If I saw their names 5 times with their face, if I got to see that, I had their names, and so usually within the week, I got to stop using the seating chart. Not always. It sometimes took me a week to learn everybody's name. But I really think that's the most important thing that you can do to make students feel like they're important to the community, is to know who they are. And so I put a lot of effort into learning their names as quickly as possible. Names with faces, that was very important. And one nice thing about our current technology is you can, if you call roll, you can see the kid with the name, because they often include a little thumbnail picture of the child with the name. So that's great. I love knowing their names. You also need to think about the room as a design. And you need to be sure that you've got the traffic pattern and the student experience figured out enough to where you arrange the seats in a way that's going to successfully channel their attention where it needs to go. So this is based on something I actually did take classes on in college, and that's environmental psychology. How you arrange the room and how the students move through it absolutely influences their experience within the room, and often their attitude toward others in the room. So as much as possible, you want to provide a personal space bubble, if you can, around each desk, so there's a little bit of room and students don't feel like they're right on top of each other. You need to make sure traffic can flow around the desks on all sides. Don't push desks up against the wall. It's not a good idea. It's never a good idea to have people up against the wall if you can avoid it. I mean, the circle sometimes forces that if you're using a circle instruction, but if you can, avoid any desk against a wall. Be aware of the door or doors in your room, and here's why. Almost all high school and elementary school classroom doors now have a window in them for obvious reasons. The thing is, you can only see partially. If you're seated at a desk in the room, you can only see partially what's going on outside. And seeing partially can actually be more of a distraction than seeing fully, which sounds crazy, but it's just the way human beings are. So if you arrange the desks to where you have at least as much ability to see the door as they do, you're going to be able to control the attention in the room a little better, because if they're the ones that see the door and you don't see it, they'll see something coming before you. That never is a good idea. It's always a good idea to have you know what's coming before them. That way, you never caught flat-footed, or you have less chance of being caught flat-footed. So you need to look at that in your room. You need to look at the traffic flow. You need to look at, and you need to try out desks in different areas of the room and try to notice what's really good or bad about that particular seating. How far are they from the big desk, the teacher's desk? How far are they from the back wall? How far are they from the side walls? How far are they from the next kids around them? And what are their sight lines going to be? What are they going to see, and what are they going to pay attention to? And if you're in a room for a long time, and there was one room I was in for 14 years as a teacher. If you're in a room for a long time, it's easy to get calcified in the way you think of how it needs to be arranged. Don't let that happen if you can avoid it. Make sure that each year when you go into that room, you consider what worked last year, what's going to be better this year, what arrangement can I try that will work better. And that will serve you. The other thing I would highly suggest is try as much as possible to keep the room tidy, not just clean, because there's a custodian who will clean the room for you, hopefully. Hopefully that's not on you, but you'll have a custodian. But when I say tidy, I mean try to have things arranged to where it's not too crowded on the tops of things. It's good to have stuff right at hand. It's nice to have things right at hand. But as much as possible, you want the room to have a sort of cleared feeling. Little decorations are nice and fun, and they're fine, but you don't want to overload the room if you can avoid it, because this is a working room, and it's going to want to get dirty. Anytime you're working in a space, it wants to get messy, because there's stuff being used, there's stuff being moved around, you're taking stuff out, you're offering stuff. So it's going to want to get dirty. As much as is practical for you as a human being, try to keep it tidy and uncluttered as much as you possibly can. And this is from someone who instinct is to clutter, okay, and to crowd things up. And I end up so mad at myself for doing that because I know better. I have no idea what John's attitude was about all this. He might have said to me, Eva, this is dumb. You don't need to worry about this. This is no big deal. But for me, it was a big deal. The room needed to feel welcoming, comfortable, and safe. That's it for today. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I hope you see me again. You gorgeous people.